How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good. My hair has been horrendous for the last 3 days.
It's
And I'm
so
not talking
curly.
like I'm not talking sort of like bad hair day. Like it's been horrendous. So I had to put some mousse in it this morning and use the what's the hair dryer with the
Oh, diffuser.
had to diffuse it. Had to
Wow.
diffuse the shit out of my hair because it was
It
blowing up.
needed a bit of defusing. It was
It
too
did really need some diffusing because it was just
diffused.
horrendous. Gosh, it was so bad. But it's all settled now.
Good.
Yeah, and I'm
Curly
ready,
mousse
ready to
and
go.
diffused.
Yeah. It's so long though. It started to just fall down into my face.
It's getting long.
I know all those years that I wanted curly hair and I paid for curly hair, and now I've got it free of charge, and I'm like, get the clippers.
Clip it off
Clip
right
it
now.
straight off.
I've got two things. One,
Oh gosh, I just thought one of them's gonna be around and blam, and I'm not prepared.
no. Oh yeah. Yeah, me either. Two things. One was I apologize, obviously, firstly to you, and secondly to everyone for me messing up with the YouTube video. It was not my intention to put them out at the same time. So
I don't think people noticed. I don't think people particularly cared. Maybe people
whoops,
were happy to be able to view it the same week as the audio.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, apologies for that. I didn't mean to. That is not our intention, and that's not what I'll be doing in the future. But yeah, it's a bit of a mistake. And secondly, I just love Renee.
Yeah, I know.
She's so supportive, isn't she? And
She's
I'm just
great.
like, oh, Renee, she's so lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
And
really appreciate.
and Karen, so our random blam last week was a tongue twister, wasn't it?
Yes.
And we said,
Oh,
let's,
I love that.
send us your tongue twister videos. And I got one from Maddie. She sent me a video of her doing the tongue twister, and I'd like to say she smashed it, but I think I did a better job, to be honest. And Karen and her grandson, gosh, that was
Oh,
the
that was
cutest thing.
adorable.
It was just the cutest thing.
That so made my day as well.
Yeah.
When I see that, I was like, oh. And I just spent the whole day going around going, it's so lovely that someone all those miles away is listening to us and listening to our lovely
Our random blam.
accents and yeah, how we don't use the English language proper.
Proper.
No, I love that. And I love, oh, how cute is her grandson? Oh my
Yeah, so super
goodness.
cute. Super cute. How great does Karen look though?
I know, well, I was just about to say that. And I was like, grandson? What?
I know.
I know, she looks amazing.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a way to say that without sounding like
No, I'll just come out.
I was
You
coming
look
on to her,
great.
but yeah. We appreciate you, Karen.
You've come at me with two things, so I'm going to come at you with two things now. Firstly,
Yeah.
I apologize to all of our listeners. It's come to my attention recently that there was an advert in one of our episodes supporting the taking of magic mushrooms. Now, we do not condone any sort of drug related taking, and we have absolutely no idea how that ended up in our episodes, because when someone said, I'm listening to your episode, did you know that there's this advert in there? I looked through everything and we had no adverts like that at all. So
Yeah, I know.
unless someone's like a phone hacker hacked into our emails, into our podcast. So apologies if you did listen to that. That's not what we're about.
Have we not been able to get to the bottom of that? Because
No,
I don't know how that happened.
no, me either. Perplexed I am
Yes.
by that.
Uh-huh.
On next week's episode, the hacking
Heroin.
of
Oh,
no,
not laughing matter.
not laughing matter. And also a massive welcome aboard. Welcome to our little blammer crew, Chris, to our newest subscriber.
Hey.
Welcome. We hope you love all the
Little blammer.
little mini episodes and things that we release for you. But we really appreciate you climbing aboard So thank you very much.
Oh my God, we so do. Oh well,
Anyways,
keep going.
yep.
Pressing on. Random blam, go.
I was just waiting for you to finish your sentence, and then I was going to go. Random blam, go. So this is a random blam that I done in the mini blam episodes, and it was such a good random blam that I feel like most people have missed out on it. So I'm going to redo it.
Nice.
So this is a random blam that was actually sent to me, and it is about chicken eggs. And I'm going to read this to you because this is factual, and it blew my mind. Sometimes strange things happen, and you can have exceptionally weird things found in eggs. When a hen lays an egg, her vent is exposed to the environment. Sometimes things in that environment can attach to the moist tissue, and these foreign objects, such as small pebbles, feathers, and other debris in the nest, can make their way back up the oviduct. Antiperistaltic contractions of the oviduct draw up these foreign objects. These objects can travel up far enough for the hen's reproductive tract to encase it in a shell to expel it from the body. This phenomenon has been documented as early as the 1600s when a metal pin was reportedly found in a domestic chicken egg. However, this is a rare situation. If you see this rare phenomenon, your nests are likely in need of a clean out, or your birds are laying in odd locations. And I thought that was such a great random blam.
Yeah, I mean, I remember as soon as you started saying it, I thought, I remember this.
When
that's proper,
I said vent.
Yeah, it's rank random blam.
The vent is open.
On this, on this fine wintry Tuesday morning, talking about vents and
moist chickens, moist tissues.
Oh God.
So just if you crack an egg and there's something weird in there, you know why now. It's been sucked up and expelled back out.
Sucked up and like accumulated into the egg.
Yes.
And then
yes.
Ugh. Well, yeah. Chicken vents. Yeah.
You go.
Right. I've got another tongue twister. I feel like this is my thing now.
Is it? Gosh.
Yeah, I've got some long ones. I've got some short ones.
Of course.
This one is a bit of a classic. So it's about the woodchuck. You know that one?
Oh, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
And then it carries on.
Did I just smash it?
Yeah, that's the
I didn't even know that was it. It just came, you know, when lyrics come on and all of a sudden you're like rapping out these lyrics that you had no idea was in you.
Yeah.
That's what's just happened.
I can do Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked?
Oh,
she's just piped up.
Peter piped up.
She's been laid up in the front room for about 4 days with a bad back, and she's just popped up and come running in to go, I can do a really good one.
Peter Piper.
I'm sorry, I'll go again.
She's healed.
Go and get your water bottle and lay back down.
You see what's just happened, Sarah? My random blams have become healing blams. She is healed.
She just come. I've never seen a move so quick. Just go running in.
Well, I'm not doing that one because I can't. But so it's the full tongue twister is how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would as much as he could and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Oh, yeah, great job. Round of applause. Morning. I was just about to take a sip of my drink.
You're like,
my Pina Colada tea.
You're into that, aren't you? Pina Colada
I really enjoy it. It's so refreshing in my mouth.
Well, that's good.
I'm
glad it's not refreshing in your chicken vent.
No, I need it to clean my palate after the 3 coffees that I've had this morning.
Oh, I love a coffee. Although that chicken vent thing, the moist chicken vent,
Is it put you off your coffee?
it did a little bit. I went to take a sip, just as you said, like vent or moist or something like that, and I was like, oh,
No thanks. Gross.
Well, morning, everyone. We've got all the thank yous and apologies over. We're either thanking people or apologising for something.
No. Sorry that we've said all of this, but we do appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't be tamed. I do try and edit a lot of my shit out.
Yeah, but there's a lot of shit in there. You'd be there all
No.
day.
There's a lot of inappropriate stuff that I say that Sarah says, you can't stop. You can't say that.
You can't say that.
And I edit out. But while
But
I'm
they
doing
are
the
going in the
editing-
bloopers.
Yes. They make me laugh. I'm going to put a coming soon. I'm not going to put myself on a deadline, but coming soon. There's going to be a 2023 bloopers,
Gosh, yeah.
and that will include all of the inappropriate stuff. I might have to bleep some of it out because obviously it's still inappropriate. So
Sometimes you edit in when we mess up, and I'm laughing so much that no noise is coming out. So if you're just listening to the podcast and it's silent, that's because I'm absolutely cracking up. If you're watching the YouTube video, you'll be able to see that. But if I've messed up or we've said something inappropriate and I'm laughing so much, it's just deadly silent.
Today, I've got another UFO story. Whoop, whoop. Today's the story of the Tic Tac UFO.
The what?
The Tic Tac UFO.
Sharp.
I will
Just
not
shut up.
I won't shut up. Everything in this story, like all the information, comes from direct interviews from the US military pilots and the officers that were involved, apart from obviously my opinions and thoughts and ramblings, which you will get continuously throughout this. And then I thought I could tell you the information on it, and then at the end we can have a discussion. Because to be honest, this story, more so than Travis Walton, convinced me that aliens are a thing.
All right, come at me then.
All right.
Because we've done Travis Walton and we've done the other one. What's the other one?
Yeah, the Hill
Hill
abduction.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun. I went down a real wormhole, not a rabbit hole. I went down a proper wormhole with this one. It leads on to so many different things. It's so interesting. But after looking at a lot of sort of possible sightings of the Tic Tac UFO, there were some that I followed on to watch videos about people that were kind of debunking it. And at first I was like, obviously that's not what that is and all that. And then when I read or watched the information behind it, I did kind of think, yeah, actually that makes sense. So it's probably not a UFO.
Oh, spoiler alert.
No, not this, but like I said, some of the sightings or possible sightings of it, I thought that's not credible. I think they're just jumping on the old Tic Tac bandwagon. So I've left them out. But I'm going to do it in order of like timeline so that I'm not jumping backwards and forwards. So I've kind of slotted out the individual sightings and put them into a chronological order. So I'm going to start with the 1950s. There was something called the Project Blue Book was formed. And this was by the government. And there's a lady called Jenny Zeidman who worked with Project Blue Book for many, many, many years. And she invested many, many, many UFO report or sightings reports. And in 1973, she investigated a sighting of a UFO from a couple of helicopter pilots. And one of the pilots was called John Healy. And he said that they were doing a routine flight. It was in the evening or nighttime. And they spotted something in the sky and they thought, right, let's go and see what that is. As they got closer, he said it was traveling towards them at approximately 600 miles per hour. And if you're not in the aviation industry or field, you may think, yeah, but helicopters fly at 600 miles an hour. They don't. So for them, being 1973, he was like, this is obviously a serious bit of kit that's hurtling towards us at 600 miles an hour.
How could he guess that it was coming at 600 miles an hour?
Well, they follow it, you know, from literally from watching it. He gauged it. He didn't know that it was exactly 600 miles an hour, but he said it was traveling at
Fast.
You know, yeah, from the distance that it was to the distance where it then was, like 10 seconds later, he was like, that is hauling butt. So he said it was around between 500-600 miles an hour, he estimated. And then it started flying directly at them. So it was head on, flying directly at them. It flew to them in a matter of like seconds and then stopped dead in front of them. They were kind of in a bit of a standoff. So the UFO was in front of them. They were hovering in their helicopter, kind of looking at each other. And they were at about 1,700 feet up. And then all of a sudden it shot up to 35,000 foot or so, give or take. But it pretty much disappeared out of sight, shot up into the air, like in a split second. Came down, made a report, said they saw this thing. Everyone was like, Both pilots gave description, and the description of the craft that was in front of them was that it was a Tic Tac shaped craft. No wings, no rotors,
Like a
nothing.
oval, long.
Yeah, you literally imagine like a Tic Tac, but bigger.
Bigger.
Also in 1973, I should just quickly add, both pilots, after giving their reports and giving their description of this Tic Tac, they both started to have really, really intense nightmares about their own death. So they would just repeatedly have these nightmares of seeing their own death, witnessing their own death. Then also, just a little bit later in 1973, Rick Jesse, who was a helicopter pilot also, he was 2,000 foot up, flying around in the sky, and him and his co-pilot saw a red light in the sky. It was getting closer to them. And then it did the same, flew right at them. Around, again, he estimated around 600 miles an hour. They decided that as it was coming right for them and it was getting closer and closer quickly, they decided evasive maneuvers. They were going to dive the helicopter down. And he said it's quite an aggressive maneuver in a helicopter, but they do it obviously to get out the way quickly. And me, myself, as a drone pilot, we're taught the same thing. So if you see another object in the sky, to avoid collision, you're taught to drop as fast as you can in height, which is why it's important as drone pilots to not have anything underneath us, like buildings or people or anything like that, because if we see a helicopter in the sky, the first thing we do is drop in height. That's what we're told to do. So he was like, right, I'm going to do this aggressive maneuver and I'm going to drop it down. So he's tried to initiate this maneuver, but the helicopter actually started moving up, rapidly moving up. And he was like, what's happening? What's happening? They had no control over the helicopter. So he's trying to force it, go down, go down, go down. And it's ascending really, really fast. It actually went up 1,800 foot in 10 seconds, which
that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of G-force.
A lot of G-force.
That's a lot of G-force on the body.
I'm going to talk about G-force in a bit.
Cool.
I've learned so much about G-force. So basically, they'd shot up in 10 seconds, And I'm going to give you a quick blam, a factual blam. Years later, they actually were sort of in the process of trying to sort of debunk this. So they got in a helicopter, modern day helicopter, not a helicopter from 1973, got in a modern day helicopter, and they said, right, we're at this height, we're going to try to ascend 1,800 feet as fast as we can and see if it's anywhere near 10 seconds. So they did that, and it actually took them, the fastest they could do it was 1 minute 37 seconds.
Oh gosh, that's a massive difference.
Yeah, so they couldn't get like anywhere near. They were like,
Not even
it's
close.
just, no, it's like physically impossible to go up 1,800 foot or anywhere close in 10 seconds. So anyway, so jumping back, they had no control over the helicopter, couldn't do anything. They saw a bright white light that radiated from this Tic Tac. And then all of a sudden, blam, it was gone. It shot off at high speed. And he said, well, it wasn't just high speed. It wasn't like, you know, oh yeah, there they go. It was like 1 minute it was there, and then it was like, shoo, gone.
At light speed.
Yeah, like super, super fast. And as soon as it did, they got back control of the helicopter, and they were like, oh.
That was weird.
Yeah, so they got in contact with their control, and they said, what other aircraft are in the area? Because they thought the only thing that could have been that was going fast like that was an F-100. But there was evidence to go against this. One, it didn't look like an F-100. Two, it looked like a Tic Tac. Three, it was silent. Like he said, an F-100 is loud, loud, loud.
Noisy.
He said, but this was silent. And it looked like a fat Tic Tac. So
we've got the RAF base near us, and when they fly over, it is proper loud. Really, really. You can't see them in the sky because it's so high, but you can hear them. So loud.
Well, they've probably already gone past by the time you can hear it, and you look up, they're already like over there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that they were kind of thinking, could it be that? Could it this? Anyway, they got in contact with control, and they said, what other craft are in? Like they're on the phone. I'm holding my hand up like I'm on the phone. So they picked up their telephone, and they said, what other aircraft are in the area? Control was like, nothing. We haven't got any record of anything in your area. You're cleared to fly. And they were like, no, Tic Tac. And they got back, and they landed the helicopter safely. They made their official reports, but he said there was no follow-up at all. And the compass on the helicopter never worked again. He said from that day on, he said, anyway, we kept saying, like, we've got no compass. It's not working. It's not working. And they said, yeah, we'll have to replace that. So they took it out, put in a new one. Now, he said, normally old parts from planes and helicopters, things like that, are kind of put in a, not in a cupboard, but, put in a parts room or parts department. He said this wasn't. This was actually, they actually took it and destroyed it. And he said that he felt that was weird because that's not something they would normally do.
Yeah.
They'd replace it if it wasn't working, but he said they wouldn't take it and destroy it. But anyway, they did that. When they did their report, obviously they both drew a big Tic Tac. And they said that's how we can describe it. Both pilots then began to have nightmares about their own death. When they gave their report and they were sort of, contacted from the government, and they said, what happened? What did you see? This, that, and the other. And they said, oh, we saw a big Tic Tac and that. He said, it was like the government were, I don't know the technical term, so I'll keep calling it the government, but their peers were saying, what happened? What did you see? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, we saw this giant Tic Tac. I'm paraphrasing here, by the way. Yeah, we saw this like giant fat Tic Tac in the sky. And he said it was like, they were like, yeah, you said that. So tell me about these nightmares. And they were like, well, yeah, I mean, I've just been having, last couple of nights since it happened, I've been having bad nightmares. But I mean, this thing, it didn't have any wings, it didn't have any rotors. And they were like, yeah. But tell me about these dreams. what happened in the dreams? What were you doing? Who did you see in the dreams? And he
Yeah.
said that they were interested in the dreams that we were having. They weren't really asking us much about what had actually happened and like what we saw, or whether we could see propellers from this thing, or how long it was there, or nothing like that, or what distance did it go in, or anything like that. It's really weird. The government, or I mean, in my head, it's the Men in Black.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I've got pictured as well.
Okay, good. So let's go with that. So the Men in Black, they did loads of tests on the helicopter, that like literally the next day they came in, they took the helicopter and they were like, we need to test it, and they thought, well, that's weird. Just, I mean, the helicopter, other than us not being able to control it for that time, it could have been interference, things like that. And they were like, no, we're taking the helicopter. We need to look at it and investigate it. Then the Men in Black, not only did they take the helicopter, but they actually gave it a whole new number, because they have like tail numbers, which identifies that helicopter. They gave it a whole new tail number, completely new ID and everything, and sent it off to Colombia.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even allowed to stay in the country. They were like, you've been bad. You went up instead of going down, so we're going to ship you off to Colombia.
Possibly have been tainted.
Yeah. Yeah, so they sent it off to Colombia. Later, and I think this was like years later, but I can't say, but later, the helicopter unfortunately crashed and killed all 4 of the crew inside.
Oh my gosh.
And the only information we've got after that is that it was confirmed that it wasn't shot down.
Just malfunctioned.
It literally just malfunctioned, crashed, fell out the air, done. And I mean, I saw pictures of it, and it was like smashed to pieces. It's a big helicopter though. So in relation to this sighting, Jenny said that there was also a family in a car that were on a journey that also saw this exact sighting. So they saw the helicopter, they saw the Tic Tac sitting in front of it. They could see both of them, and they were like, what's going on? And what the actual minty goodness is that? Obviously it was giant Tic Tac. They gave a detailed report, and you can hear the woman's interview on tape, and I did listen to it, but honestly I couldn't make out what she was saying. It was on a tape from like 1973.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know whether
much
it was
static.
Yeah, it was old, it was muffly, it was just it's similar to our first episode, just really poor audio. I couldn't understand what she was saying, and I was like, oh, it would have been good to have heard it. But I'm told that what they saw was the helicopter, they saw the lights of the helicopter, they saw lights emanating from the Tic Tac. They confirmed that it looked like a Tic Tac, and Jenny, that works on the Blue Book, she studied like this case. She was absolutely like obsessed with this case and finding out what this Tic Tac was, because she said, you know, obviously we investigate all sources of information, and she said, in her words, she said they were credible witnesses and it was credible information. But Jenny could never find actual answers of like what this Tic Tac was. Her question that she could answer is, she said she does not believe that we are alone in this universe. Like, she's saying, I don't think that that was anything that was man-made. I think it was otherworldly, but other than that, I can't answer any other questions. Again, in the 70s, lots of sightings of UFOs were flooding in over Kentucky. So once again, the military were directed out with one of its jets to check it out. Unfortunately, and this is another story from Jenny that she reported. Unfortunately, the jet that was sent to check out this, you know, influx of sightings, he wasn't equipped with any oxygen. And the reason that he wasn't equipped with any oxygen was because the job that he was doing when he got diverted was at low altitude. Now, I had to look all this up. Oxygen is only taken in jets if they fly above 6,000 feet.
Right.
This is like this. I'm told the 6,000 feet level is you probably should have oxygen. When you get to like 10,000 feet, it's like necessary. Must have oxygen. Otherwise, there is no oxygen up there. So anyway, he followed orders. He chased this UFO that had been sighted, stayed on its tail, chasing it through. He followed it. Unfortunately, whether he knew it or not, I mean, I'm sure he did because he was a capable pilot. He followed it up to between 25 and 30,000 feet, which is
You
way
can't be breathing
beyond.
up there.
No, this is guesswork, I guess. They think that he either suffocated,
You passed out,
or just passed out, or both. But it still goes that he didn't have enough oxygen at that altitude, and he suffocated, passed out, and his plane just came down, crashed, died.
It could have been that if it's happened in the other ones and they've kind of levitated it up really quickly to 18,000 feet, that could have happened. It could have sent the plane up, because I don't know if you'd willingly go past 6,000 feet knowing that you haven't got any oxygen.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it's the same that happened, like you say, with the helicopter.
Yeah, you'd get up to 10,000 feet, you'd get up to 12,000 feet, and be like, "Oh, I'm finding it difficult to breathe."
Yeah,
you wouldn't keep going up all the way to 25,000 feet. That seems
I think
a small bit silly.
I think that's accurate. There is a group, called NARCAP, and their job basically is to track UFOs. They follow about 2,000 cases per year, and their cases that they follow are all from airmen of different jobs, helicopter pilots, jet pilots, aeroplane, commercial airplane. And they said a lot of their 2,000 sightings, a lot are credible. He said they cannot be explained. They're not anything that we know of, like man-made or anything like that. And their comment, NARCAP, has said, from our information and from our sources that we've investigated, if these Tic Tacs, or whatever they are, intended on being malicious, there is nothing we can do. He said that the technology that we've found so far, and they said most of the reports we believe to be otherworldly. So just a little cheery blam in there, if these aliens are going to be nasty, then we're screwed, basically.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. So all this like bits and pieces, this all leads me to the most famous sighting of the Tic Tac. And this event is listed as a UAP, which is an unidentified aerial phenomena. And we would know it as UFO, which is identified flying object. UAPs tend to be a little bit more general, like they have to say they're unidentified. They have to say that they're aerial, which means they're in the air, and they're phenomena, because some of it could be weather, some of it could be human, some of it, so they're just saying it's unidentified happening.
Something.
Yeah, it's an unidentified happening in the air. So they list them as UAPs. So in 2008, there's a guy called Luis Elizondo, and he was summoned to go to the Pentagon to join a military program called AATIP, or ATIP, and that stands for Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. ATIP is an
the fact that there is just a designated like actual job that you can go into doing that it's got to mean something.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that it's aerospace threat identification
Yeah.
could be like from the Russians, or it could be from China, or it could be, you know, from little old England. As if. We'll be the first to go.
Yeah.
Or we'll be the last. They'll be like,
Why bother?
yeah, why bother? They're not going to do anything. May as well just leave them for now. Take out like the threats, the proper threats, like America and Russia and all that. And they're like, England,
Not worth it.
what are they going to do? We'll be sitting here shaking our Tic Tacs. Where was I? Oh yeah, ATIP. So ATIP is an unclassified but unpublicised investigatory effort funded by the United States government to study unidentified flying objects, UFOs. The programme was first made public on December 16th, 2017. The programme began in 2007 with funding of over 22 million over the 5 years until available appropriations were ended in 2012. Basically, the purpose of ATIP was to investigate UAPs or UFOs to find out 3 things. 1, what is it? 2, what are its intentions? And 3, what are its capabilities? That must be the hardest. What are its capabilities? Without actually having it, how do you know?
Capable of killing you, but then you
Yeah.
can't live to tell the story.
Yeah, I mean, I only truly know the capabilities of my car when I've got it on the motorway and I floor it and I'm like, ooh, it's got a lot more capabilities than my van. ATIP had a fancy little headquarters in the Pentagon, and ATIP was made up of scientists, electro-optical engineers, avionics specialists, and intelligence experts. So Luis was part of the team, and speaking about UFO sightings, he said most of them can be explained as things like high altitude weather balloons, things like that. But he said there are a lot that are just completely identifiable, and we look into it and we investigate it, and we still just have to, at the end of the investigation, hold their hands up and go, I don't know. I think they do that as well when they go to like the president. I think they just go, I don't know.
What are you asking me for?
I don't know. It looked like a Tic Tac. It's minty and delicious. So I just mentioned that bit about Luis because he comes into it in a bit. So I'm going to do one little jump back. So I'm going to just jump back a couple of years to 2004. And this is where it gets juicy. So aboard the USS Nimitz, which is a boat, like an aircraft carrier.
Yep.
And I was watching a documentary and I explained about USS Nimitz and a boat, and it's an aircraft carrier to Claire, and she was like, yeah. And then when we watched like a documentary on it, she went, oh, I didn't know planes actually took off from there. And I was like, what did you think that was? Why do you think they're on there?
They just carry the aircraft because they can't make their own journeys.
They don't want to fly over the ocean. They just want to be carried on a boat.
Just being lazy.
And then when they get to the other side, they're like, whee!
They just wheel off.
Yeah, I was like, what did you think the purpose of an aircraft carrier was? So yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, it's a boat and it's flat on top.
It's got a landing strip on it.
And it's got a landing strip and a runway and a takeoff. Yeah. And I said to her, like, do you know that when they land on that? And she said, well, what if they go all the way and then like plop off the end? And I was like, well, they thought that might be a problem. So what they did was they've got like a hook on the back. So when they come down, they've got like a big rubber band that goes across. Slightly more technical, but
yeah.
And the hook catches on the rubber band.
Almost like a slingshot.
Yeah, like a reverse slingshot.
Reverse slingshot.
Hooks onto them and stops it. So anyway, so now we all know what the Nimitz, the USS Nimitz is. So the USS Nimitz was out at sea, pinging their jets off and doing training exercises. And this was just off the coast of San Diego. And on this particular day, a nearby ship called the USS Princeton, who had a very, 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 very advanced state-of-the-art radar system. And they said to the USS Nimitz, do you know what? For the last, again, paraphrasing, for the last week, we and I've seen a lot of like weird shit going on. We've seen multiple anomalous aerial vehicles. Is that
Anomalous?
anomalous?
What's that?
Like an anomaly, like
All right.
weird.
Okay.
We've seen. All right, I'll do it.
Sounds like a word I would have made up.
We've seen a lot of weird flying shit in the air.
Done. That's English that I can understand.
That's proper English. Okay, so I'll start that bit again. So Princeton contacted USS Nimitz and they went, listen here, get this. There and I've been a lot of flying weird shit in the air. And Nimitz went, no way. And they were like, way. Nah, mate. And he went, yes, mate. And he went, all right, well, we'll go and check it out. So that's what happened. So on November 14th, two of the pilots that were out doing their training and pretending and like play fighting. Did you like that?
Yeah.
That's also my goat impression. It works for, it's a twosie, 2 for 1. Machine gun and a goat. Right. Well, there wasn't any goats on the USS Nimitz, but yeah. So they were off doing their training, and the control tower of the USS Nimitz, they contacted 2 of the pilots, and they said, "Can you go and check out this weird thing that we've got on the radar?" And USS Princeton are looking at it on the radar. We need to know what it is because it's restricted airspace. They're doing their practicing. They have to have clear space.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, right, we'll go and check out what it is and we'll tell them to like get lost flying in our airspace. So
that's how people get shot down.
Exactly. So they were like, right, we'll send 2 people over there. So 2 of the pilots got in their jet, well, they were already in their jets, and they had 2, they each had a like investigating officer that sits in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 4 people. There was 4 people.
You filled up 6 fingers.
So it was 4 people, 2 jets, and off they went to check it out. What they saw gave them chills like you wouldn't believe. They saw a huge piece of water that looked like white water. Do you know what I mean by that? Like it was all churned up.
Yeah.
Like there was
frothy.
Yeah, like all kind of whisking round and all that. And then above that, they saw, quote, a Tic Tac shaped craft. Or as I like to say, big old fat Tic Tac hovering over the water. As they watched it, they noticed that it began to mimic their movements, but so fast, it was like a complete blur. Like he said, the only way I can describe it is 1 minute it was that way, and then it would line up with my jet that was hovering. And he said 1 minute it was like that, and then, oh, bam, it was facing the other way. So he said it was so fast, you couldn't see it turn and move. It was just 1 minute it was like that, and then all of a sudden, bam, it was like
an erratic Tic Tac.
A very erratic Tic Tac. That's a bit of a tongue twister as well.
Mm-hmm.
They said that the Tic Tac was about the same size as their F-18s, which I had to look up. It's about 15 feet high and about 60 foot long. So
they're quite a substantial size.
Sizable. But they said it had no wings, no visible engines or propellers, and also they noticed there was no exhaust because they were kind of trying to see what way it was facing.
Oh, okay.
And if they could see like exhaust coming out of it or something, but they said there was none.
No windows.
No windows, no doors, no nothing. Just white.
A sealed unit.
Yeah, a bit like a pill.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shape. So
Like
it was
a
like
capsule.
yeah, like a big capsule in the sky. But yeah, Tic Tac. It began moving up to the same height as the jets, with all 4 crew just looking on in amazement. And he said that they said, because I saw the interview with both of the pilots, and they said they were looking at it for about 5 minutes. It wasn't a quick thing. Like they were talking to each other going, what is it? Oh my God, what is it? When all of a sudden, blam, disappeared.
Gone.
So fast, shot off. And he said it was 1 minute it was there, next minute it was gone. Like they couldn't even see which direction it had gone in. It was that fast. It just went. Within 2 seconds, the USS Princeton had it on their radar again.
Right.
But it was 60 miles away.
Oh gosh, right. Warp speed.
Warp speed. So within like 2 or 3 seconds, it had gone 60 miles. And forgive my math, but it means that the craft would have been doing somewhere around 3,600 miles per hour.
Goodness me.
Crazy. And that equates to about 60 times the speed of sound. So I can't.
It's a lot of G-force.
My brain cannot even come
listen.
close to that, honestly.
When people start talking to me about the speed of light, the speed of sound, I'm like, how can you possibly measure something that's 100 million years away? I just don't get it.
I can't. My brain cannot handle that.
Yeah, neither could mine. It shuts down.
So many times this week where I was looking at these things and trying to understand the speed of sound and the 48,000 miles an hour and oh God, G-force, and people get crabby talking about G-force. Geez, they really do. Oh my goodness, they really do. Yeah, it gets really technical and really like pissy. There was a lot of pissy men on the internet. They were like, oh, if you don't know what you're talking, I don't know. Not to me, but obviously. So yeah, so 60 miles away in like 2 or 3 seconds. Blam, gone. Another crew of jet pilots that were closer to 60 miles away, they actually locked onto it very briefly and then blam, it was gone again. The crew made their reports and their reports were submitted and filed, and then nothing. There was no follow-up. There was no, a lot of the people that, even some of the people that saw it on the radar, nothing. Not interviewed, not asked about it, nothing. The 2 pilots said, like in recent interviews, like later, they said, we fully admit if we'd been on our own, we wouldn't have said a word about it, because admissions like this are like, or can be, career ending. They were like, there is no way. Like, and one of them was female, one of them was male, the 2 jet pilots. And she said, I didn't want to be like famous for this. Do you know what I mean? It's not, that wasn't for me, but we had to report it, and obviously it ends up coming out.
I guess it's kind of seen as a bit of a like kook. If you report a UFO sighting, you're not really taken seriously.
No, exactly. And this does come into it in a bit as well. So Kevin Day was the guy that was on the radar on the Nimitz on that day. So he was kind of working alongside his radar and the USS Princeton's radar. He said that day he saw on his radar, just off Catalina Island, he saw a UAP over the sea, just darting around. And he was like, what could be moving that fast? That's weird. And he said that on his system, it went from 28,000 foot to the surface of the water in a second. And he said I think it equates to something ridiculous like 24,000 miles an hour on the
I was gonna say,
radar.
you can't even fall, like free fall that fast.
No, exactly. He said it was just ridiculous. And his words were, if this thing had been something hostile, there is nothing that anyone could have done about it. Because he said this thing was moving so fast that, you know, they could have, you know, gone somewhere and gone blam, dead, boom, blam, dead, boom, blam, dead. And no one would have even had time to lock onto it or anything. So he said if they were hostile, there's nothing that anyone could have done anything about it. He also said that no vehicle known to man can go as fast as that was. And he said when he saw that on the radar, he knew that whatever that was moving was not made by mankind. That was not human made. And also he states that something moving that fast would have had incredible G-force.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I had to look into it a bit, but it's not a wormhole that I wanted to go in.
The human body can only withstand a certain amount of G-force.
9.
It's the pressure of the body, isn't it? So like if you was to elevate too quickly, the blood pulls down, so then you go unconscious because the blood's gone from your head to your feet, so you go unconscious. That's basically what G-force is.
It's
gravity on the body.
Yeah,
the pull.
Exactly. So I watched a lot of videos and things on like G-force and things like that, and there's a lot of, you know, the videos of like people in the back of a fighter jet, and
right.
like, they tell them to like push their knees together and like that, and you see them kind of going like and trying to like push the breath out to like regulate their breath. But to be honest, most of them pass out unconscious at 7 Gs.
Yeah, I've seen them before when they sit on the spinny machine that spins them round.
Oh my God.
That's why I can't go on roller coasters, because the G-force on my body at like 1, I just can't handle it.
Oh, absolutely hideous.
I'm a delicate flower.
Me too. No fairground rides for me. They make me hurl.
Yeah.
So these, you know, people were apparently humans can take about 9 Gs. I've seen many people passing out at 7 Gs. Again, rough math. Please don't come at me because, you know, I am an idiot. 24,000 miles per hour. Estimation, possibly around 1,100 Gs.
Yeah, that's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much for the human body.
So I mean, I just did that because, you know, to give people a rough idea of the fact that something traveling that fast
couldn't be flown by a human.
No, it's just I don't think it's possible. And anyway, the day that this happened, Men in Black turned up. I mean, they weren't Men in Black, but they were, you know, Men in Black. So, but they turned up. Government officials, stop that. Government officials turned up on the boat on the USS Nimitz, and he said they took everything. They took audio, they took video, they took interviews with the pilots, obviously. But Kev, who had been on the radar on USS Nimitz, he said they didn't really ask me anything. They weren't like interested, but they just came in, they collected up a load of stuff, and then they were like, okay, thank you, bye.
They're like the unspeakables that work at the ministry, aren't they?
They are. Like Claire. When I saw that telephone box in London, I was like, should we pop and see the ministry? She went, yeah. I went, do you know what I'm talking about? And she went, no.
Like, not cool.
Read the Harry Potter books. Damn it. Yeah, so they came in. Kev started having nightmares, and he said they were like apocalyptic type dreams. Like he'd dream about his death, he'd dream about the end of the world, all this. yeah, so that was that. Remember I said about Luis?
Yep.
Who's working in the Pentagon for ATIP? Well, so he started ATIP in 2008, if you remember. So when he started, he was like obsessed by this case. He was like, I need to find out what this was, because there's all these very, very credible reports by all these military officials, people in the Navy, RAF, everything. So he was like, I'm going to get everything together. So he got all the evidence, and he said, this is a prime case for a UAP, if ever there was one. There was radar video, there was pilot reports, there was investigator reports, there was gun camera footage. And he started putting this case together bit by bit. And he said many of the officials inside the Pentagon were very skeptical. They were like rolling their eyes. Yeah, giant Tic Tac, sure. But he was just convinced that this was a genuine UAP sighting. However, in 2012, funding for ATIP as a whole stopped. Just, that's it. ATIP doesn't exist anymore. That's it. It's done. But Luis couldn't let it go. So he kept a group or several of his ATIP colleagues who were working on the Tic Tac case. And he said, we just need to keep working on it. We haven't got funding now, and ATIP kind of doesn't really exist, but we need to find answers for this. So they kept working on it, but it became a huge problem for Luis, as he was getting a lot of pushback on it. So he got a handful of the videos declassified. I don't know how, but he put it through, he pressed on with it, and he got 3 videos declassified. And he then resigned. Once he got those declassified, he resigned from the Pentagon. Luis and his team tried to take the case to the Secretary of Defense, and they knew 100%, they were 100% through all their vast experience, they knew that the fat Tic Tac was not human creation. They knew it was alien. And they kind of felt scared, because they were like, we've got a taste of what its capabilities are. The speed it can go through water and through air without slowing down. Like, this is a serious threat to our world, not just our country, but our world. No one was listening, and they kept getting shut down. So they said, do you know what? We're going to need to take drastic action. So they took the 3 videos that they'd had declassified, and they intentionally leaked them to the press. And their plan was get the people interested, which will get the government's attention, which will then get the attention of the Department of Defense. And it worked. ATIP then got resurrected because of this. And it then changed its name. So they didn't say, you know, all right, have ATIP. They started this group, and they called it the UAP Task Force.
That's cool.
So it is cool.
It's cool.
Congress are now saying that they're looking into these sightings, they're taking them more seriously, and they want to properly investigate these things. But what they did say, which was brilliant, when I heard this, I was like, that's actually quite cool, is that they said they are really keen to get rid of the stigma attached to UFO sightings.
Yeah.
Because there are, you know, they're not all from like some Karen that, you know, wants their 15 minutes of fame or whatever. And some of these are genuine phenomena You know, they're genuine things that even the most smart, incredible minds on Earth are going, huh, yeah, I don't know what that is. So, you know, it's quite cool that they're, whether they do or not, but it's quite cool that they're saying we need to get rid of the stigma. But yeah, so going on a little sideline, Ryan Graves, who is a former Navy pilot lieutenant, in 2014, he and his squadron of F-18s, fighter jets, were seeing UAPs over restricted airspace, just hovering there. And they had a super duper radar, infrared cameras, things like that. He said, and this is an actual quote from him, an actual statement from him. He said, we saw UAPs every single day for years. He said, this is not a, oh, there's been a sighting over there, and oh, 2 years later, there's been a sighting over there. And, oh, you know, he said, these things, he said, and I am confident about this, these things are here every day. They are watching us every day.
Well, that's spooky.
It is. But it's also quite comforting, because if they're here every day and they've been watching us every day, and this is for years and years and years and years, I don't think they want to hurt us. Because if they've got this kind of technology,
yeah,
they could have wiped us out.
Also, could have probably helped us with a few things.
Maybe they
Not
have,
bothered.
though. Maybe they have.
Mabes.
I mean, maybe they created Tic Tacs in the model of their craft. I love a Tic Tac.
They've monetized the name.
Yeah, all proceeds go to the space Tic Tac. But yeah, so he said that they saw UAPs every day. It wasn't a, you know, once in a blue moon. He said these things were hovering and flying about. They had no exhaust fumes, because that can be seen on infrared. Nothing. They would fly through air and water without slowing. They would reach unbelievable speeds that our craft over here just cannot match. They would rotate and continue flying at the same speed. They would go to amazingly high altitudes. And him and his team said that they can only be one of three things. One is a secret US technology. 2, spy vehicles from foreign enemies. And 3, something from another world. In 2018, and this is the one that I was like, oh, maybe it is real. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, it's a bird. No, it's not.
Is it a plane?
It's a giant Tic Tac. It's a bug. It was really up and down. So I just thought I'd briefly mention it, just in case people go, oh, it was caught on camera. Maybe it was. In 2018, a drone caught the supposed Tic Tac on camera. And this was in Beaver, Utah. Shout out to all our beavers out there. And apparently they didn't realise that they'd caught anything on the footage until they went back to their hotel room and
looked at their beaver.
Yeah, looked at their beaver and thought, what is that moving around in my beaver? They looked at the footage and they saw, and you can look at it on YouTube. Careful if you're going to search beavers. Friendly warning to all our listeners. Don't go on YouTube and search something's moving in my beaver. Beaver, Utah, drone UFO footage or something like that you can look at, and you can see the video of the Tic Tac. But basically, it's videoing the beaver landscape, and you very, very quickly see something white shoot across the screen. And that's all it is. And I saw loads of experts on there saying if it was done by CGI, then these guys are absolute masters, because you just wouldn't be able to do that, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, honestly, I went down such a wormhole with this. There was so many people from different sides going, yeah, but it couldn't be that because of this, and it couldn't be that. And there was like terrain trajectory, and I can't even say that word. Honestly, trust me, it was a absolute fucking minefield. Most people now that don't think it's a UFO say that it was a bug. So it was a small white bug. I mean, people have actually gone to this exact location and like looked at the air quality to see if there's things, because obviously if you've got a camera and you've got something that flies very small that, you know, gets blown past it, it is going to look like that. So
Yeah.
I do rate the possible bug theory. I don't know.
If you've got a head torch on and something flies in front of their head torch, it's like
Yeah.
massive, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's similar to that. It's like, you know, if the light catches it and all that. I don't think that was the Tic Tac. I think that having looked at all the footage, I think it probably was a bug. I myself am a drone pilot, so if I do see anything like that, I'll give you an update in the future and go, oh yeah, do you know what? It was quite dusty. A bit of dust or whatever blew past my camera lens and it did look like something, you know, but I'll let you know anyway. But I don't think that was actually the Tic Tac UFO caught on camera. I just don't. But other than that, the truth is out there, guys. Are they friendly or are they hostile? Yeah, I don't think they're hostile. I think they're friendly, and I think they're actually protecting us. I think they're keeping an
Probably.
eye on us because, I mean, we are twats.
We're a very young planet in terms of all the planets that are out there.
And we're
an
divs.
incredibly young, almost like a baby planet. We've got
Yeah.
no idea what we're doing. We've got no idea what's out there.
No.
So
I don't
they are
I
like a
don't think
mother,
they're hostile. I don't think
mother
they're
planet.
hostile.
No.
Mother. Yeah, no, I think they are. I think they're looking after us. I think they're looking out for us and thinking, what are they doing now? Drop it. Yeah.
Don't touch that.
Yeah, stop that. Yeah, and all they do is put a big old fat Tic Tac in the sky and we all go,
What's that?
what's that? But yeah, I mean, realistically, what are we going to do about it?
Nothing.
No, nothing. And they know that. I think they're here all the time. I don't think they're hostile because I think if they've got technology where they can come all the way through space, all the way through our atmosphere, all the way down, plop themselves into the ocean, be like, you know, oh, you're getting a bit close. I'm going to go 60 miles. Blam. Done. And they would have been able to wipe us out by now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
100% they would have done.
Well,
They'd have
thank
just stayed
you
up there and made loads of holes in the ozone. And then we'd all burnt to death.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's real?
Oh, you know what? I don't know, because my brain immediately goes, no, it's not real. Can't be real. But that's just because I haven't got the mental capability to think of another reason or think of another explanation other than that everybody's lying.
Yeah. No, I know.
I can't think of another possible explanation other than that they either are real,
yeah,
or all of those witnesses are lying about the same thing.
Yeah.
But then why would they have...
When you look at that, these are military people that have got good
exactly.
careers.
They're credible witnesses and they don't want to come forward.
No. So, and how would you, bearing in mind, you've got people on the USS Nimitz, you've got people on the Princeton, on the other boat, and you've got the two jet pilots with passengers in the back. Why would all of those made something up like that?
Yeah.
And the thing is, they didn't even come out with it. It was Luis and his team that leaked it to the press, and then everyone went, well,
was it true?
Yeah, and turned to them and contacted them and said, tell us about it, because you were there. And they were like,
oh,
didn't really want to talk about it, but yeah, I mean, this is what happened. But I
Yeah.
mean, you can see that they're quite defensive. They're like, I'm not lying about this. You know, I know this is hard to believe, but what's the point of me lying? None of
what do
them
they get
have,
out of it?
yeah, none. I mean, Travis Walton kind of, you know, was doing interviews and, you know, books and things like that. But these people, they aren't even doing that. Not that I think Travis Walton's lying, because I don't, but these people have got they haven't gone out and done loads of interviews. They're very, very reluctant to kind of talk about it and, you know, things like that. So I just think I believe it. I believe it. I think these Tic Tacs are out there, and I want one.
Bye.
Bah.
If you have enjoyed listening to our episodes, make sure you rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening.
We absolutely love hearing from you guys. So you can also help support our show by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee link. We will make sure that you get a massive shout out and a big thank you in our next week's episode.
You can also follow us on social media at Perplexed Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to see more videos and blooper reels, subscribe to our TikTok and YouTube channels.
You can also email us your stories at perplexedpodcasts@gmail.com.
And you can find all the relevant links in the episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.